after the third meeting of the Foreign Affairs Ministers in a week, on this very much difficult week, we had again with us Foreign Affairs Minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, who joined us on offering a strong, moving account of what's happening on the ground and the behavior of the Russian troops, and also about the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian forces, which can be certainly called as freedom fighters for Ukraine. Kuleba joined us via VTC from Ukraine, where he is busy defending his country, and despite his high spirit, he certainly drew a dire picture of the situation in the ground. Civilian targets has been hit, putting innocent people at risk of their lives. I am underlining this as we need to grasp the gravity of the situation. I will never insist enough on the gravity of the situation. An independent country, without doing nothing to deserve it, has been invaded with strong military capacities by another one who has a nuclear bomb and threatens to use it against anyone who dare to intervene on this invasion. As you know, in a sign of immediate support for Ukraine, we have adopted sanctions package, which was agreed last night by the leaders of the member states. You know that the European Council provides political guidance in order for the Council of the Foreign Affairs Ministers of the European States approve formally and put that into actions. We have listed today President Putin and Foreign Minister Lavrov. This is the final outcome of the discussion, which was not finished yesterday at the European Council and has been decided today by the ambassadors and the ministers on the intense discussion that we have been taking place during this morning. So President Putin and Foreign Minister Lavrov are in the list of sanctioned people, together with the remaining members of the Duma who are supporting this aggression, and also with relevant members of the Russian Security Council. You know very well that this is an important step. Let me flag that the only leaders in the world who are sanctioned by the European Union are Assad from Syria, Lukashenko from Belarus, and now Putin from Russia. We will also target those in Belarus who collaborate with the Russian military aggression against Ukraine, and we will not stop there. We have also adopted a proposal to target all, I mean all, those who are significantly providing economic support, all who are having a significant economic role in supporting the regime. You know that we have adopted today is imposing restrictions on financial, trade, energy sector and visa policy. Allow me to go a little bit more in detail, although I know that everybody knows it because it has been communicated thoroughly and with a lot of detail. First, we are cutting Russian access to the most important capital markets, prohibiting the listing and provision of services in relation to shares of Russian state-owned entities on EU trading venues, and so significantly limiting the flows of capital significantly limiting the financial inflows from Russia to the EU. These sanctions will target 70% of the Russian banking system and key state-owned companies, including on the field of defense. They will increase Russia's borrowing cost. Increasing costs, financial costs, means increasing inflation and gradually eroding Russian industrial base and attracting less foreign direct investment. I want to stress that we are not targeting Russian people. Many of them spoke against the senseless war, and I want to salute their courage, the courage of the people that in 58 Russian cities have been demonstrating against the war. And we certainly make the difference between Kremlin and Russia. Putin is not the Russian people. We also agreed to intensify our diplomatic efforts to ensure the widest possible international condemnation of Russia. We need to hold Russia accountable internationally. This requires a diplomatic effort to explain to everybody what's going on, what Russia has been doing, and why we ask for the Russian condemnation at the United Nations. We already summoned Russian ambassadors to the European Union and in member states, and all our delegations and embassies has been instructed in order to work actively to explain to partner countries the danger of Putin's aggressive behavior. It's not just a problem of Ukraine, it's not just a problem of the European Union, it's a problem of the international community. And Russia needs to see that this is going to be isolated from the international community. We are mobilizing support for the vote in the United Nations Security Council this evening. We know that Russia will veto this proposal, but then it will go to the General Assembly. And there we will have the temperature, we'll see how many people support this condemnation of the aggressive attitude of Russia. To prepare this process, I've been spoken with the foreign ministers of China, India, and others to explain them that it is not about Ukraine, it is about the respect for international rules and United Nations Charter. Putin launched a war against a neighbor during an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council in Ukraine. It shows the respect that Russia has for these institutions. And now they are attacking verbally. Even Secretary General, the United Nations Secretary General, is being attacked by Russia for speaking up in favor of peace and respect of international rules. This is about the United Nations. Follow on the next days the result of the vote, both at the Security Council this evening and in the General Assembly later. But apart from the United Nations, we are seeing the first reactions. The first one, I welcome very much that the Council of Europe, the Council of Ministers, adopted the decision to suspend Russian rights of representation in the organization. And all EU 27 member states supported this unanimously. Let me say one thing about that. This does not entail Russian expulsion from the organization. It is in the interest of the Russian citizens to keep benefiting from the protection granted by the European Convention of Human Rights. Then Russia has also been excluded from the Eurovision Song Contest. It may look as small things from the geopolitical point of view, but they will have a wide social resonance. Also from the Champions League final that will not be held in St. Petersburg, and the Russian Formula One Grand Prix has also been cancelled due to the actions of the Russian leaderships. As for Ukraine as such, we need to continue our support in any way that we could. There was a clear consensus about that. And finally, let me stress the importance of a point which is related with information war. Lies and disinformation are streamed from Russia by now, even from the highest political place. If you follow, please follow the reports of our strategic communication team who debug and curtail the disinformation flow, you will see how do they consider Zelensky as a war criminal, a Nazist, using the words genocide in order to justify the invasion of Ukraine, which had the purpose of avoiding Zelensky committing genocide against the Russian-speaking people on the Donbas region, and saying that when they will seize Kiev, they will do the same thing that in Nuremberg, to send to the court the people responsible for genocide. This kind of disinformation has to be combated, debunked, and curtailed. And then there is the danger and risk that other countries in the neighborhood of Russia can be suffering. We need to strengthen our support to Moldavia and Georgia, and look at the Western Balkans, because we will see provocations in the Western Balkans, especially in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And in order to support the stability of the country, I've decided to mobilize the reserve force of the Altea operation, which means to deploy 500 militaries of this mission in the ground. This is going to happen in the next days. And that's it, more or less, what I wanted to tell you about this important meeting with the Foreign Affairs Council, where, according with the treaty, has been taken the decision about sanctions on Russia.
Thank you very much, High Representative.